With the new football season comes the usual fan experiences like tailgating and cheering on your favorite team. But in many states, sports betting is now a big part of the game, for better or worse. Let's talk about it with Alan Franks, the author of the book EmPowered Money. Alan, always good to see you. So let's start with this. First up, how many states currently have legal sports betting?
Well, Jonathan, first of all, so excited to be with you again here today, and I hope you can feel it in the air when that crispness hits your skin, baby. It's fall, y'all, and with fall comes football, and with that comes fantasy football, and with that comes the conversation around gambling. Currently, 38 states have legalized sports betting, and 2 are currently in the process of doing that, but 10 have nothing going on, and the reason that that's important is Georgia is one of those 10 with some of the stringent rules against betting. Now, the reason that's a big deal is that this is a big business. According to the American Gaming Association, there's about $10.92 billion of revenue done last year, and that's by handling about $119 billion of bets. We're even seeing some studies coming out showing that Gen Z is actually allocating more money towards betting than they are their own retirement. So that goes to show you how big of a draw this is. And fantasy football definitely plays a part in that. Almost 30 million players last year. And the biggest growing segment of that is women.
Fantasy football, I know a lot of people, including some newsrooms, people like to sign up and play with their friends. They create an office pool. So is that actually considered gambling? And if so, are you taxed in any way?
Great question. So is it skill or is it luck? It's a debate right now. Unfortunately, that debate is settled here in Georgia where it is actually gambling. Now, depending on where you live, that could change here. But we are seeing right now it is gambling. As a matter of fact, DraftKings and FanDuel are reaching into that, and they are setting up these leagues. It's just important to know that, hey, if you win more than $600, you are supposed to file that with the IRS here. But you luckily can subtract from that your losses, which if you gamble enough, you are going to have some losses. Unfortunately, you can't subtract those losses from your income stream. Now, speaking of losses as well, if you are a manager or if you are an owner of your company, you do need to be aware that the average person spends about 5 hours a week at the office on their fantasy football. Like you said, there's a lot of camaraderie that goes along, a lot of trash talk when you win that week. That being said, that's also over 10% of your working hours.
All right, well, this is something I just learned about a couple days ago. There's actually something called fantasy football insurance. How does it work?
Yeah, it's kind of nuts, right? So the insurance industry is massive. You can pretty much get insurance on anything, and now you can start to get insurance on your star players here, right? Now, the average sports bettor is going to spend about $600 to buy into a league here. So I like to think about last year. Let's say you were drafting here and you were super excited because you got Aaron Rodgers in your first round. We've all seen the meme with Aaron Rodgers running the flag out on the field, and that was basically his season last year. And if you chose him in your first round, that was probably your fantasy football season as well. So in response to big injuries like that, you can go online, buy a policy for like $20 to $50, and they will reimburse you up to $1,000 if one of your star players gets hurt.
You know, another thing that I think is really interesting, a lot of people maybe have this dream of one day maybe being a part of an ownership group, owning an NFL team. And now the NFL has actually approved private equity firms to own parts of NFL teams, at least some of them.
If you think that valuations of NFL teams are silly now, just wait till private equity money gets involved there. Private equity funds are raising so much capital, they have to deploy that capital, right? And what the new law allows is for private equity to take about a 10% ownership stake in the team. And what we're hoping for here is that maybe there's a way that fans can get involved with these private equity funds so that they can own a share of that team. But there's already $12 billion set aside to go towards owning these NFL teams right here. And so hopefully the small person, me and you, hopefully we can get together, own a little share of the Falcons here, just like the Green Bay Packers have had since about 1923.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Arthur Blank will allow that, though. Hey, we'll see it. Thank you so much, Alan Franks, the author of the book EmPowered Money. Always good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jonathan.